Welcome, everybody, to the Prometheans. Radio Brain and I are here for you tonight to have some fun.
Yep.
So we are, want to tell them what we're going to do?
Well, we're going to watch Samantha Guthrie bleeding from her eyes in her attempt to take down Trump during the town hall that he did in lieu of the second presidential debate, which never happened.
Yeah. Because, that totally wasn't a shit show. That totally wasn't going to be a shit show. Alrighty. I guess we may as well just, well, actually, is there anything we want to cover before we get into it, or?
Oh, I don't know. Not really. I mean, hey, just the roller coaster is on its way. Let's just sit back and get on it. I think, or get back and sit on it, and and I'll stop dribbling shit. Getting my words mixed up. Let's go.
All right, and here we go.
This is an NBC News special presentation of Today with Savannah Guthrie.
Tonight, Donald Trump in the arena. His first primetime network appearance since falling ill with coronavirus.
I'm feeling great. I don't know about you. How's everyone feeling?
With tonight's debate canceled, the president faces our questions live and hears from voters about their concerns in the battleground state.
Wait. Shit, am I unmuted?
Of Florida.
It's great to be back in my home state, Florida, to make my official...
Sorry about that, everyone. I'm going to try to make sure we don't have the same problems we had last time. So, just to give her the one thing I did just remember. We're going to do this kind of better than we did the Biden one, in part because we actually have the whole fucking thing, because NBC isn't a bunch of assholes about about embedding their videos, quite like ABC is. And so we'll pause for responses, or do we want to just go ahead and just talk over it like the debates?
We'll pause it when necessary.
Okie dokie.
She'll return to the campaign trail.
With just 19 days to go, the president makes his case.
My goal is to fight for you and fight for your family.
From NBC News, Decision 2020, President Trump Town Hall. Live from the Perez Art Museum in Miami, here's Savannah Guthrie.
Hi, everybody, and good evening. It's good to have you with us, and welcome to Miami and our town hall with President Donald Trump. And we want to say right off the top, this is not how things were supposed to go tonight. This was supposed to be a town hall debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. But after the president contracted COVID, the debate commission announced it would have to be a virtual debate because of health concerns. The president then said he would not participate in a virtual debate. At that point, Joe Biden scheduled a town hall tonight in Pennsylvania on another network, and now the president is doing the same, his own town hall, with the same venue, format, and time as NBC's town hall with Joe Biden last week. So the two candidates go head-to-head.
I wish they would cut that goddamn music feed already.
Tonight, though not face-to-face, each in a key battleground state. And tonight, the president will be taking questions from voters here in Miami, who we should mention are socially distanced and they're wearing masks. And I should say, this audience looks a bit like America. It's divided. Some here voted for the president in 2016 and plan to again. Some support Joe Biden, and some say they are truly undecided. We're going to get a mix of questions on a range of topics, and we're going to get to those questions in a moment. But first, with all that ado, welcome, Mr. President, and thank you for being here.
That was very well stated, I have to say. Good job.
Thank you. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're well. We send our best to the First Lady and to Barron.
Thank you.
Do you have any remaining symptoms from COVID?
Nothing whatsoever. I'm great. I feel good. Was in North Carolina today and did a big rally. We had tremendous turnout, and just feel really good. Florida, Pennsylvania.
Oh, what just happened?
Yeah, shit. Was that you?
Oh, no. I remember this. This was a,
You there?
Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. No. This was a little weird technical glitch they had. Because I remember I had mentioned I had seen enough of this to go up to the first three questions.
And they said, let's go to the hospital. I said, that's okay. I'm going to respond to what you say. And we went over to Walter Reed, where you have tremendous professionals. They gave me Regeneron and Remdesivir both. And all I know is I felt good the following day. I felt really good.
Did the doctors ever tell you that they saw pneumonia on your lung scans?
No, but they said the lungs are, a little bit different, a little bit perhaps infected. And
infected with?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't do too much asking. I really felt good. I didn't have much of a problem with the lungs. I did have a little bit of a temperature. Obviously, I felt there was something missing. And then I tested positive.
Well, let's talk about testing because there's a little bit of confusion about this, and I think we can clear it up.
Yeah, and there shouldn't be.
Your first positive test was Thursday, October 1st, okay? When was your last negative test? When did you last remember having a negative test?
Well, I test quite a bit, and I can tell you that before the debate, which I thought it was a very good debate, and I felt fantastically. I had no problem before.
Did you test the day of the debate?
Is it just me, or does she sound a little paranoid sitting opposite someone who's had the virus?
I don't get the impression of paranoia.
You there?
God damn it! I gotta remember this thing. I have streamer mode on Discord, so it doesn't come. The audio doesn't come through, but still, I got the impression not of paranoia, but more. She was like trying to dig to try and find something to catch him on, and you'll see a little bit more of that as we go through. Because, again, I saw like the first 2 or 3 questions. I wasn't impressed with his answers, and she was just starting to get on my nerves.
Yeah, I'm seeing it as it came across as paranoid. I think it might just be the atmosphere here because if you look at the background, like we had that sweep of the audience, and one of the things I've been thinking lately is every time I see this social distancing crowd in a TV audience, or even that clip of Biden's gathering that Trump tweeted the other day, it looks like some kind of weird cult, like the Wicker Man or something. I don't know, some weird thing. And these
very good movie, by the way, the original ones.
Yeah, and it just looks weird, and it's just like there's this aura over the whole thing. The virus.
I know. And if I recall correctly, isn't that the lady who's like headbanging along to the president the whole time?
Oh yeah, actually, hang on, has she got a mask? Yeah, she does have a mask. Yeah, apparently so. So we'll get on with it and let's see what she does. Watch out for her.
Debate?
I don't know. I don't even remember. I test all the time, but I can tell you this: after the debate. Like, I guess a day or so. I think it was Thursday evening, maybe even late Thursday evening. I tested positive. That's when I first found out about it.
Well, back to the debate, because the debate commission's rules, it was the honor system, would be that you would come with a negative test. You say you don't know if you got a test on the day of the debate?
I had no problem. Again, the doctors do it. I don't ask them. I test all the time, and
did you take a test, though, on the day of the debate?
If you ask the doctor, they'll give you a perfect answer. But they take a test, and I leave, and I go about my business.
Did you take a test on the day of the debate, I guess, is the bottom line?
I probably did, and I took a test the day before and the day before, and I was always in great shape. And I was in great shape for the debate. And it was only after the debate, like a period of time after the debate, that I said, that's interesting, and they took a test, and it tested positive.
So just to button it up, do you take a test every single day?
No, but I take a lot of tests.
Okay.
See, she's asking him a line of questioning that's the kind of thing a lawyer would ask somebody on the stand. She's intentionally trying to get it. I think she's intentionally digging to try to get him to trip himself up on his responses.
Yeah, I definitely get that feeling.
Also, if I recall correctly, aren't the tests a thing straight up your freaking nose? Or is
I think they changed it at some point.
Okay, because if he's still getting those tests done, it's like you're not going to get used to and forget having that done.
Well, I think if you do it every day, you're probably going to be traumatized and start blocking it out of your memory, I think.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm aware, it's been changed.
Okay.
It's somewhere along.
Unless he also might just be getting the tests they might be doing for him might also be blood tests. And if he's getting like blood prick tests and stuff done every day, I mean, after a while, yeah, you're going to forget doing that kind of thing. That just becomes routine.
Yeah.
And you don't know if you took a test the day of the debate?
Possibly I did, possibly I didn't. But, the doctor is very accurate information. And it's not only that doctor, it's many doctors. The one thing, if you're president, you have a lot of doctors you're surrounded by. But I was in great shape for the debate. and sometime after the debate, I tested positive.
Let's talk about...
That's when they decided to let's go.
Okay, good. I hopefully provided some clarity for folks. Let's talk about the event that was held at the White House on the Saturday before you tested positive. Subsequent to that, 13 people connected to that event tested positive. There was an outdoor reception. You've seen the pictures. There was an indoor reception. People were not wearing masks. My question to you is, at this point in the pandemic, knowing what we know, shouldn't you have known better? Shouldn't the White House know better than to hold an event like that?
Well, they do a lot of testing in the White House. They test everybody, including me, but they test everybody. And something happened. But as far as the mask is concerned, I'm good with masks. I'm okay with masks. I tell people wear masks. But just the other day, they came out with a statement that 85% of the people that wear masks catch it.
Well,
so, you know,
they
this
didn't
is
say
a
that.
very
I know
tricky,
that study.
Well, that's what I heard, and that's what I saw. And regardless, but everybody's tested, and they're tested often. And I also knew that, hey, I'm president. I have to see people. I can't be in a basement. I can't be in a room. I have to be out.
You can see people with a mask, though, right?
I can, but people with masks are catching it all the time. I mean, if you look at the governor of Virginia, he was known for a mask. If you look at Tom Tillis, a great guy, he always had a mask, and they caught it.
Well, there are pictures of Tom Tillis actually with one of Judge Barrett's kids not wearing a mask. But, you know, Chris Christie, he was part of your debate prep.
Yeah.
He was, I believe, at that event. He came out tonight. He was sick, very sick. He was in the hospital for about a week.
I know
he
that.
came out tonight and said, I was wrong not to wear a mask.
Well, I mean, he has to say that. I think it's great. He's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. And wrong or not wrong, you have to understand, as president, I can't be locked in a room someplace for the next year and just stay and do nothing. And every time I go into a crowd, I was with the parents of our fallen heroes. These people are the most incredible people. And they came up to me, and they would hug me, and they would touch me. And I'm not going to not let them do it,
Now,
to be
there was
honest
an
with
event
you.
with the Gold Star
There was
families
exactly
the
right.
day
We had
after the Supreme Court
a Gold
event.
Star event with the most incredible people you've ever seen. And I could have chosen not to talk to them or to keep everybody away. And you know what? And I don't think that's probably where it was caught, but maybe it was.
Well, I was going to say, you bring it up. You brought it up yourself. I mean, are you trying to suggest that? Do you believe a grieving military family gave you COVID?
No, I don't know where it came.
That's a really shitty thing to ask, isn't it?
Yep. And that's what she's doing. She is trying.
Yeah.
She is trying to pick fights, and she's trying to get him to say something that'll make him look bad. He's highly combative. She does not like him. It's very clear.
Yeah, you're right. So, like a lawyer. Anyway, let's get on with the trial.
Where it came from, and you don't know where it came from, and the doctors don't know where it came from. But as the president,
it came from China.
Well, yeah, I think he's specifically saying about where he got it from. So,
yeah, I know, but he, he's a smart ass. He could have thrown that one in. It came from China.
No, China, and I can't say it like he can anyway. So fuck it.
President, I have to be out there. I also know.
Well, there's no one that says you can't be out there, but it's just about wearing masks and having, for example, your rallies.
I know this.
Your rallies
As
don't
an
require
example,
masks.
No, I mean, let's see Kamala. She's got people now that people have it, and I'm not blaming her. I'm not saying, oh, she did a terrible thing. As president, I have to be out there. I can't be in a basement. I can't be locked in a very beautiful room someplace in the White House. And I want to see the Gold Star families, and I want to see everybody. And I also say to people all the time, it's risky doing it. It is risky doing
but
it.
But as
it's
president, you're right. You don't want to. You want to be a leader, but you also are a leader and a setter of an example. And if you're not wearing a mask when your administration is saying best practice right now is wear a mask, no, it's not foolproof.
But many people are catching it. Many people are getting this.
She's also trying to lecture him like a child. I'm sitting there going, okay, regardless of whether or not he believes this thing's a serious matter, whether he's taking it seriously or not, the man's not a freaking child. He just had the goddamn disease.
This disease that was sent to us by China, and it shouldn't have been allowed to happen. But many people are getting this. And, I mean, nobody's being blamed. Everybody is working hard to get this thing out of our country, get it out of the world. Look at what's going on in Europe. Massive spikes. They've done a very good job. But now you take a look today at the UK. You take a look at Spain and France and Italy. There's tremendous spikes.
But our death rate is worse than, well, not Spain, but those
Well,
other
I
countries.
have things right here that will tell you exactly the opposite.
Me too.
So the UK is up 2,500%, because I knew you'd be doing this. I know you very well. The UK is up 2,500%. The EU is up 722%. And the United States is down 21%.
But we have, our deaths per capita is among the highest among industrialists.
Excess mortality, we're a winner on the excess mortality. And what we've done has been amazing. And we have done an amazing job. And it's rounding the corner. And we have the vaccines coming, and we have the therapies coming. And I'll tell you what, one thing, when I got it, I had a choice, do nothing or use some of the things that we're looking at, like in this case, Regeneron.
Yeah.
And Eli Lilly makes something that's supposed to be incredible. And I think that maybe I wouldn't be doing this discussion with you right now. We have therapies now and cures, maybe. You can use the word cure. But we have therapies that are absolutely incredible.
I want to pick up on something you just said. You said we're rounding the corner.
I believe we're rounding the corner.
Now, 10% of the country approximately has had COVID. That means 80, 90%, let's do the math, is still vulnerable.
Right.
There's been some talk, including from the White House lately, that perhaps it approves of what's called herd immunity. That's where you basically just let young people and everybody get sick. You try to protect the old people and those who are sick, and hopefully it gets up to a certain level, and now we're all immune.
Yeah.
So let's just be clear about it. It also means more deaths. Do you support herd immunity as a strategy? Essentially just let people get sick.
The cure cannot be worse than the problem itself. We did the right.
Nice sidestepping there, I think. You could see when the way he moved, like he was going, okay, I'm about to do a very difficult maneuver here. You see that she's tricking him. Like, you see the way she's putting words into his mouth? You there again, or have you?
You know, I'm here. I'm just getting a report from somebody that we might have a problem.
Okay.
Weird, because I'm not having the problem as a viewer.
Ah. Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try taking myself off of my Wi-Fi. Try using cellular data only. Why the fuck is that not one?
What's the problem, though? Sound?
No. No, we're fine.
Okay.
On my end, we're fine.
Same here.
Let me try something.
We'll let it roll while you're doing it.
Oh,
we did the right thing.
No, I know the problem.
We were
is.
expected to lose two.
For some reason, Oh, okay. So technically, we're having an embed issue, but can't watch it. I think if the friend of mine was trying to watch it on by clicking play on the little applet for Discord, and NBC somehow seemingly either NBC or us won't allow you to do that. So
probably NBC.
They'd have to watch the video on YouTube in their browser. Well, nothing I can do about that one.
Oh, okay.
You can hit play, I guess.
Yeah.
2,200,000 people, and maybe more than that. We're at 210,000 people. One person is too much. It should have never happened because of China. It happened because of China. And you have to get that and understand that. But it shouldn't have happened. But we were expected to lose. If you look at the original charts from original doctors who are respected by everybody, 2,200,000 people.
That 2 million figure, though, is if you literally did nothing.
People.
The 2 million figure is if you did absolutely nothing, it would be 2 million. The question is, should the deaths be better than 200,000 when, relative to the rest of the world, we have a worse death rate?
I left North Carolina, which I love. I left Pennsylvania. we won a big case in Michigan because that governor has a lockdown where nobody but her husband can do anything. He can go boating and do whatever he wants, but nobody else can. The fact is we're winning all these cases because it's unconstitutional what they're doing. And I think they're doing it for political reasons. But the fact is the cure, you can't let this continue to go on with the lockdowns.
Okay.
And I believe that on November 4th, you're going to have a lot of these governors. Look at what's happening to New York. New York is a mess. They lost almost 40,000 people. They have a lockdown like you've never seen. Now they're open. It's like a ghost town.
Let's get
and so that is very important. People are leaving New York by the thousands. And you're going to have a hard time ever building it up again. That cure, that so-called cure that you talk about, it can't be worse than the problem. The problem is a bad problem.
We've got more questions on COVID, so let's drop it for now. We were supposed to, as mentioned, be watching.
I think he's put her in a difficult spot, and she's moving on because of that.
Yeah, I think he I can see that part there, because the one thing he's right about, and he's repeated over and over, is the cure cannot be worse than the disease. And
yeah,
I think what he's hinting at there is we can't continue to run the economy into the fucking ground to try to defeat this virus by just trying to wait it out. And he's right. We're not going to have a fucking economy if we try to wait it out. And if what some of the epidemiologists and stuff were saying back in May, COVID very likely is here to stay. It's a likely part of it could very likely be a disease that's just part of the human experience, with all the diseases that we pretty much have to fucking endure. And if that's the case, we definitely can't stay locked up. We can't live like basement dwellers afraid of the sun, afraid to come out. Civilization will wither and die if we do. So, yeah, not to doom and gloom, but that's just the, what's the alternative? Bite the bullet.
Yeah, and it's a big election win to promise opening it up, because that's what people need, is hope. And I reckon she's noticed that. Right where the screen is frozen now, she looks like really nervous. Like she's going, "Oh, I went too far down there. Oh shit, back up." Yeah. She's definitely going to change the subject. So here she goes.
Watching you on a debate stage right now. We're not doing that, so let's clear up a few things from the last one. You were asked point blank to denounce white supremacy. In the moment, you didn't. You asked some follow-up questions. Who specifically? A couple of days later, on a different show, you denounced white supremacy.
No,
my question to you is,
you've done this to me and everybody.
Why does it seem like
I denounce white supremacy? Okay,
you did 2 days later.
I denounced white supremacy for years, but you always do it. You always start off with the kill.
I did it. Yeah, you did it 2 days later. You mean when you had the information, when you had more information provided to you about who was at Charlottesville and what was going on? Huh. How about that?
Question. You didn't ask.
Well, hang on. It wasn't 2 days later. He said it within 45 minutes of that girl getting, the girl getting killed and the, oh, actually, no, she didn't die straight away, but
of getting hit.
Got hit. He said it within an hour. He just flat out said it on very little information. No place for. Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's just like. Yeah, at some point, maybe when we're done with this, just as like part of our closing, I'll grab one of those numerous compilations, like 2 minutes long, of him condemning the white supremacists and the tiki tortures and all the alt-right type dipshits, just to lay it out for the fucking anyone in the audience who might be doubting. He has continuously denied white supremacy. And being endorsed by shitheels like David Duke and, well, not Richard Spencer, Biden's endorsed by Richard Spencer, does not mean he endorses them in return. I could endorse, I don't know, I could endorse Joseph Stalin. Does that mean that Joseph Stalin is a classical liberal? Hell no. Okay, not a good analogy, but still.
You didn't ask Joe Biden whether or not he denounces Antifa. I watched him on the same basic show with Lester Holt, and he was asking questions like Biden was a child.
Well, so this is a little bit of a dodge.
Are you listening? I denounce white supremacy.
Okay.
What's your next question?
Do you feel, it feels sometimes you're hesitant to do so, like you wait a beat.
Here we go again. Every time, in fact, my people came, I'm sure they'll ask you the white supremacy question. I denounce white supremacy.
Okay.
And frankly, you want to know something? I denounce Antifa, and I denounce these people on the left that are burning down our cities that are run by Democrats who don't know what they're doing.
While we're denouncing, let me ask you about QAnon. It is this theory that Democrats are a satanic pedophile ring and that you are the savior of that. Now, can you just once and for all state that that is completely not true and that disavow QAnon in its entirety?
I know nothing about QAnon.
I just told you.
I know very little. You told me, but what you tell me doesn't necessarily make it fact. I hate to say that. I know nothing about it.
That was a good retort. I think that was a very good retort. Because he's right.
Which part?
Huh?
Which part? Saying it doesn't exist. He doesn't know.
Well, when she said, "Oh, I just told you," and he says, "Well, yeah, you just told me, but I hate to tell you, just because you tell me something doesn't make it fact."
Yeah,
that was a great retort, and
I see what you mean.
And you can hear her inflection, and I think that's the word I'm looking for, in her tone when she's talking to him. Well, I just told you. It's like she expects people to just believe her because she's in the media class. That's what, okay, I may or may not be assuming, but still, that's what I think that these people tend to behave like. They expect people to listen to and hang on their every word as if everything that they say is holy text, is sacred, true, accurate. Even though,
well, hang on a sec.
About 50% to 60% of it's crap.
One correction I'd have to say about what you just said. One correction. I don't think it is just the media. I think it's just people in general. A lot of people do that. Hey, I've heard this thing. I'm going to repeat it. And it's to say, all the arguments I have over, especially when it's over Trump, it's not just Trump. I've been seeing this for years. It's always bothered me, but it's been running hot for the last 5 years or so. Basically because of Trump running for president, becoming president. But people go, here's a claim. You can argue if you could destroy it unironically, without exaggeration, with facts and logic. And guess what? They still don't buy it. They still don't listen. And not only that, but they often get offended because they're coming into it going, well, I heard it. I heard it somewhere. It was on the news. It was there. It's stuck in their head already. They're not critically thinking about it. They're not reviewing it. They're not being introspective, and they're being extremely self-unaware, and especially in the past few years, because now you get to a point where someone goes, oh, your news source is shit. Mine's fucking brilliant and is obviously gospel, but yours is shit. Even if you were talking about the same news source and you decide to question what's in it or notice something different.
No, I agree with you. I agree there. But I
I have something recent.
Especially the media class, I think, is prone to this type of elitism because they are very, very insular and very, well, for lack of better words, high on their own fumes.
Yeah, it could actually be that more a case of the audience is like that, so they're running with what the audience, and that's what they're playing on.
Kind of, sort of. I mean,
they know they can feed it out there, and they know that a significant proportion of the population is going to argue for them. Yep. So someone hears, Trump's a white supremacist. Boom. They're going to hear it. They're going to go out, when they go out IRL and they meet people, they're just going to argue for it if it ever comes up in conversation, and it clearly does. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing that. They know it, so they just keep playing on that over and over again. And in a way, that kind of makes sense when you look, especially if you go to the second presidential debate. If you look at some of the claims that Biden was making about Trump, about what he's done, he just repeats it. That's all. He doesn't even make a case. He just repeated it. And it makes sense that they would just said, "Hey, man, all you have to do is just repeat it," and the people who hate Trump, you're going to have them reinforcing their belief.
Well, there's that, and the reason why I say I brought up like why I think there's still a level of elitism within the media classes is it's how you get things like was it Joe Scarborough? I don't know if it was Joe Scarborough, but it was way back when during the whole I don't remember which early quote unquote scandal of Trump's it was, where there was a document had leaked out, or is the whistleblower or something like that, and the media, the guy on the was it CNN, I think, says it's illegal for you to read this, but it's fine for us, as kind of to act to try to assume the mantle of being a special class with special permissions and authority over everybody else, which is completely false. Because when it comes to First Amendment, freedom of the press, it doesn't say the people with a journalism degree who work for the major media corporations, or hell, that's how Tim Pool's a freaking journalist. And in a way, what we're doing is exercising freedom of the press. That's kind of what I meant with the elitism. They have there's this air of, and maybe it comes from the whole being a vicious cycle of just feed the people what they want to hear to reinforce their beliefs. They'll watch you, they'll read you, they'll be your livelihood. And so it creates a bubble.
I do know they are very much against pedophilia. They fight it very hard, but I know nothing.
Oh, also, until I watched this, I knew only QAnon was some weird online thing that was against pedophiles. That's all I knew about them.
They believe it is a satanic cult run by the deep
study
state.
The subject. I'll tell you what I do know about. I know about Antifa, and I know about the radical left, and I know how violent they are and how vicious they are, and I know how they're burning down cities run by Democrats, not run by Republicans.
Republican Senator Ben Sasse said, quote, "QAnon is nuts, and real leaders call conspiracy theories conspiracy theories."
He may be
Why
right.
not just say it's crazy and not true?
He may be right. I just don't know about QAnon.
You do know.
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Let me ask you another.
That's exceptionally... I laughed at that when I first heard it. It's like, oh, you do know. It's like, how the fuck do you know what he knows? If anything, Jesus Christ, lady. Maybe he knows more. Maybe he doesn't. You don't know unless somebody's telling you things that they're not supposed to be telling you.
Let's waste a whole show. You start off with white supremacy. I denounce it. You start off with something else. Let's go. Keep asking me these questions.
I do have one more in this vein.
Let me just tell you, what I do hear about it is they are very strongly against pedophilia. And I agree with that. I mean, I do agree with that, and I agree with it very strongly.
But there's not a satanic pedophile
cult being run by... I have no idea. I know nothing about that.
You don't know that? Okay.
No, I don't know that.
This
neither
week...
do you know that.
Okay, just this week you retweeted...
Why aren't you asking me about Antifa? Why aren't you asking me about the radical left?
Because you're
why
volunteering.
Why aren't you asking Joe Biden questions about why doesn't he condemn Antifa? Why does he say it doesn't exist?
Because you're here before me.
No, so cute. Antifa exists. They're vicious, they're violent, they kill people, and they're burning down our cities. And they happen to be radical left.
Just this week, you retweeted to your 87 million followers a conspiracy theory that Joe Biden orchestrated to have SEAL Team 6, the Navy SEAL Team 6, killed to cover up the fake death of bin Laden. Now, why would you send a lie like that to your followers? You retweeted it.
That was a retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet.
That honestly is not a very good answer. I don't know anything about it. That was a retweet.
No.
Like, did you not read the fucking retweet?
No, it's... I found this a bit weird because he's... I haven't actually seen this part, but I've heard about it. Basically, he's putting something out there and they go, "Oh, you can't do this. You can't do that." You know, well, hang on a sec. Why can't he? If it's common practice for a lot of people. I mean, you can find like people's bios where they say retweets are not endorsements. It's some people are fishing for an opinion, maybe stirring things up, but it's. I don't like him using this. I don't like the fact that he actually does. Like, I think as president, he does need to, you know, not just shove something out there like this. But he still has, you know, he's still, he's still a Twitter user, and he can act like any other. It's not. I think it's a bit of a troll. I think he's like lured them out, or he's pushing this angle to muddy, you know, stir things up a bit. But this is where the crazy uncle bit comes up. So I think we should watch it first.
I'll put it out there. People can decide for themselves. I don't take a position.
You're not like someone's crazy uncle who can just retweet whatever.
That was a retweet, and I do a lot of retweets. And frankly, because the media is so fake and so corrupt, if I didn't have social media, I don't call it Twitter, I call it social media, I wouldn't be able to get the word out. And the word is false. And you know what the word is? The word is very simple. We're building our country stronger and better than it's ever been before. That's what's happening, and everybody knows it.
Okay, we got a bunch of questions for you.
We're winning in a lot of states.
Okay.
We're winning in a lot of states. You're
Let me ask, I'm glad you brought up the election, because I do want to ask about that. That's another kind of leftover item. A lot of people have asked you, will you accept a peaceful transfer of power? You have said repeatedly, the only way we lose this election is if it is rigged. Now, that is simply not true. The fact is, either candidate can lose fair and square without ballot fraud. And so will you accept the results of the election?
That's the way I want it to be. But when I see thousands of ballots, right, unsolicited ballots being given out by the millions, and thousands of them are dumped in dumpsters, and when you see ballots with the name Trump, military ballots from our great military, and they're dumped in garbage cans.
That is a handful. We could go all night, which we won't. But we could go all night, one by one, a single case, a single day. You're talking about 150 million votes. Your own FBI director says there is no evidence of widespread fraud.
Well, then he's not doing a very good job. All you have to do is pick up the papers every day. 50,000 in Ohio, the great state of Ohio. 50,000 in another location, I think North Carolina. 500,000 applications in Virginia. No, there's a tremendous problem. But let me just tell you, they talk about the peaceful transfer, right? They spied on my campaign and they got caught, and they spied heavily on my campaign, and they tried to take down a duly elected sitting president. And then they talk about, will you accept a peaceful transfer? And the answer is yes, I will. But I want it to be an honest election, and so does everybody else. When I see thousands of ballots dumped in a garbage can and they happen to have my name on it, I'm not happy about that.
But just those are there is in fact no evidence of widespread fraud, and you were sowing doubt about our democracy.
How can you say that? You do read newspapers.
I do.
You do watch the news.
Yes,
I know you read the news, but do you watch it?
I do.
Because every day they're talking about ballots that are corrupt, that are fraudulent.
And millions that are being processed right now.
Sure, but you can win a race. Take a look at me. You can win a race by 1%.
But why are you laying the groundwork for that right now? It's like if I go play tennis with my husband and I say my ankle's hurting right now.
I don't want that to happen. Okay. Savannah, I want it to be clean. Okay. I really feel we're going to win. But I want this to be clean. But it's sort of ironic that you and them talk about the peaceful transfer when I spent 3.5 years fighting off these maniacs, and now it turns out, everything's there, that they were the ones that dealt with Russia. And it's too bad. Yeah, okay. But peaceful transfer, I absolutely want that. But ideally,
bite it, Cosmo.
I don't want to transfer because I want to win.
Yes, and I think that your words will probably reassure some folks. Let's get to our first voter. We've got Jacqueline Lugo. Now, I told you this audience is truly split between y'all. You are leaning Biden. She voted for Clinton in 2016. She's registered as an independent. Jacqueline, what's your question for the president? And you hold the mic up close and take off your mic because it's hard to hear out here.
Good evening.
How are you?
Welcome to Miami.
Thank you very much. It's beautiful.
Mr. President, if you knew COVID-19, as you told Bob Woodward in February...
As what?
As you told Bob Woodward in February, was airborne and deadlier than the flu, why did you only put in place a travel ban from China and not put in place other measures mitigating the spread of COVID-19, potentially saving tens of thousands of American lives?
Well, I did put it in very early, as you know. Joe Biden was 2 months behind me, and he called me xenophobic and racist and everything else because I put it in. And it turned out that I was 100% right. I also put it on Europe very early because I saw there was a lot of infection in Europe. And it's sort of an amazing question, and I appreciate the question and respect the question, but the news doesn't get out the right answer because I put on a travel ban far earlier than Dr. Fauci thought it was necessary, who I like, far earlier than the scientists. I was actually the only one that wanted to put it on, and I did it actually against the advice of a lot of people, including Nancy Pelosi, who had no clue what she was doing, and Biden. When I put on the travel ban, I put it on in January, the end of January. When I put on the travel ban, Joe Biden and others said, this is ridiculous. You don't do that. Well, Dr. Fauci said I saved thousands and thousands of lives.
Did you?
I was early. I was extremely early when I put on the travel ban.
Can I ask you, did your national security advisor on January 28th in the Oval Office warn you that this would be the greatest national security risk of your administration?
No,
he didn't say it, or you don't remember?
I read it someplace. Maybe Woodward said it or something. But no, he did not say that. But I knew it was a big threat. At the same time, I don't want to panic this country. I don't want to go out and say everybody's going to die.
Isn't there a middle ground? You don't have to mislead, but you can.
No, there's not a middle ground. You have to be safe, you have to be vigilant, and you have to be smart.
You're going to like this next couple of voters. It's a mom and a daughter.
Good.
Mom, Barbara, voted for you in 2016.
At this point, I reckon it's like super big shit show. But he's kind of all over the place in his answers. It's like he seems a bit weird, and like he's not in the right frame of mind. Like he's struggling to say what he wants to say. Do you get that impression?
I do, and that's kind of
why he keeps repeating himself.
That's kind of why I said his answers for at least the first three. This is the first one of the three was that I saw left me feeling very lackluster. I was thinking those were not good answers, and I don't know. Maybe it's because he's still kind of recovering from COVID at this point. Don't know. Maybe it's the fact that she's being combative, constantly interjecting. I mean, we go on, like, when we watched just the couple of clips we did so far of the Joe Biden one, Stephanopoulos just quietly, politely sits there and lets Joe answer. He only cuts Joe off when Joe's rambling on for over 5 minutes. The moderator in a town hall like this is supposed to...
Yes.
Is supposed to present the person asking the question, let them ask their question, let the president answer the question, and shut the hell up!
Do you think overall that, I mean, Trump must have agreed to come on here, obviously?
Oh, he did. They invited him to come on. In fact, NBC got a lot of shit.
He must have had, there must have been a selection, and he chose this one, is what I mean. He must have chosen this one.
That I
out
don't
of multiple...
I don't
They must have. I reckon you can just assume it because every station would be chasing ratings. Everyone would want it. And it could be a tactic on his behalf to, basically, show that he's got the fighting spirit.
Yeah, he couldn't do ABC, so maybe, of course, because ABC
that's why
he couldn't do ABC, of course, because ABC was doing Biden. I don't know if CNN... I don't know who all would have sent out invitations, but I think you're right. The media class, the major networks would have been probably crawling all over each other to try to get the booking for it. And he could have softballed himself and.
I mean, it would have been YouTubers doing it.
That's how he should have done it, to be honest. But he could have softballed it and went with Fox, which I'm sure Fox threw out an invitation, and it would have been some sycophant like Hannity or somebody like that covering him, and that would have just been too easy. So in a way, maybe doing NBC with somebody who absolutely hates him might not be bad for his optics. I guess we'll see as we go. Hopefully he picks up after the second and third responses.
voted for you in 2016. She's leaning to vote for you again. Now, her daughter was too young to vote last time. She's going to vote for her first time in a presidential campaign, and she is leaning Biden. So imagine the dinner table at their house, okay? So, Barbara, why don't you go first and ask your question?
Bienvenido a Miami.
Thank you.
Mr. Trump, as a frontline ER doctor working through the coronavirus pandemic, I know firsthand, and I've seen that many hospitals throughout the United States are suffering financial hardships. These economic effects are trickling down.
Hang on, did she say hospitals are suffering financial hardship?
Yeah.
I'm calling bullshit on that.
I don't know enough about that one. I have a friend I could probably...
I would just...
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, actually, because if you got someone you know, go ahead and ask any...
I have a friend I could... I have a friend who's got several close family members who work in medicine, including his father, who is a surgeon at our local hospital. I could ask him or his dad if that statement has any veracity to it. So, I mean, I don't know enough to know. I find it difficult to believe, but I don't know.
I'm going to put it down to, simply the fact that during the lockdown, there's a lot of people who suddenly had to do without, so their money's, supply is drying up, and they've got things to worry about. But there's a whole bunch of people I know who have just done really well, and hospital staff are one of them. That is it. Says anything that's going to benefit, anything that gets a higher demand has been doing really well. And I find that question really weird. And I think the reason I'm pointing it out is it sounds so staged. Like it sounds like, it's like Biden's doom and gloom type approach. Oh, hospitals aren't doing very well. If she'd mentioned like hospitals, they're being overrun by COVID, that would be a different matter. But she didn't. She mentioned like, they're not doing well financially.
Also, I have.
It sounds very staged.
Also, I think I have some breaking news for you. The International Peace Institute president. Sorry, Arch, but fuck Norway. I can't pronounce his name, but I'm gonna try. Terje Rod Larsen has just resigned from his position for, wait for it, links to Jeffrey Epstein.
Ooh. Hang on. Oh, yes, this relates to Australia. He's been, our former Prime Minister was in part of that organisation. I think he was the chairman or something. And he's flat out said that he was absolutely blindsided when he found out Epstein was involved.
Kevin Rudd?
Yep, that's the one.
And Kevin Rudd said he was blindsided when he found out Epstein was involved with the organization?
I think I'm oversimplifying a bit because I think he knows that there was an involvement, but he didn't know about the donation, and he didn't know. I think he said Epstein had been at a couple of events. He personally never met him, and it sounds actually quite reasonable. Like, there's probably lots of people in that position, but from what I've heard. So I read an article yesterday. Basically, it sounds like he's just try to admit that he didn't get money out of it.
Okay, so it turns out what Rod Larsen had done was he himself borrowed $130,000 from Epstein. That's it could be entirely above board, but even a multi-millionaire like Epstein, just lending a guy $130,000 is I want to know more. I definitely want to know more.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, Tintin looks like he's in trouble. I just looked up an article. There's a picture of him looking very worried.
Wait, you called him Tintin?
Yeah, that was when he was prime minister, a lot of cartoonists in newspapers.
You're talking about
literally Rudd. Yeah, they drew him as Tintin, and quite frankly, I could see the correlation in their looks. But yeah, we'll come back to that another time, I reckon, because we'll add that to one of our to-do lists.
Yeah, because that's just breaking. I just picked that up from our good old friend Robin of the Hood on Twitter, Greenwood Outlaw.
Oh, yeah.
That's less than an hour old. Anyway, sorry for that distraction, folks. That was just some interesting news.
Trickling down to the frontline workers.
Right.
We are being, across the country, frontline workers are being fired, they're being furloughed, our salaries are being cut. And this is also happening in other economic sectors as well, including the travel industry and hospitality.
Right.
My question to you is, how are you going to get the United States back on track, both in terms of the economy and the pandemic?
So it's happening. We just set a record, 11.4 million jobs. We are going to have a phenomenal third quarter, which will be announced on November 1st, just prior to the big November 3rd day, where I think you're going to see a red wave. But we're going to have a tremendous announcement, I believe. I mean, we're going to find out. But GDP is going through the roof. Jobs, real estate, houses, so many things are happening. So people were saying we were going to have a 42% unemployment. Look, this was a thing that came into our country, and it happened more than 100 years ago, and it happened now. They were talking about a 42% unemployment rate.
Who was talking about that? I heard 20%. It just came out at 7.8% unemployment, and
I'm glad he just ignored her.
People can't even believe it. Our economy is going to be, next year, if we don't have somebody that raises taxes and quadruples taxes, which they want to do and kills everything, our economy is going to be phenomenal next year. We're going to have a phenomenal. And I'll tell you, Savannah, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country last year, including the state of Florida, where we are now, and Pennsylvania, and North Carolina, and Ohio, every place. We had the greatest economy we ever had. We had to close it down. We saved 2 million lives. We're opening it up. We have a V shape, and it's coming back. It's coming back very fast. One other thing, we really helped the hospitals. We've sent billions and billions of dollars to the hospitals. In addition, hundreds of millions of masks and gowns. And we went into the ventilator business because this country was not equipped with ventilators. And I'm not blaming anybody for it. But we're now making thousands of ventilators a month. And we have all we can use. We're sending them all over the world because the world needs them. So they've worked very hard and really very, very effectively. Thank you. Great question.
Let's talk to Isabella. Put the mic close to your mouth. Okay, go ahead.
Mr. President, my parents are, as you heard, both frontline healthcare workers, and I've seen the physical and the mental tolls that this pandemic has taken on them firsthand, as well as the exacerbation of coronavirus due to Americans who are not wearing masks or participating in social distancing. After contracting COVID-19 yourself, has your opinion changed on the importance of mask wearing?
No, because I was okay with the masks. I was good with it, but I've heard many different stories on masks. I mean, I had, being president, you have people, they bring meals, they bring this, and I had an instance recently where a very wonderful person is bringing me a meal, and he's playing with his mask, and he's touching his mask all over the place, and then he's bringing a plate in, and I'm saying, well, I don't know if that's so good. I mean, the good news, I didn't eat it, okay? I decided not to eat it. This was a month ago. But look, you have on the masks, you have two stories. You have a story where they want, a story where they don't want. I am all for it.
I don't get that because it's just all of your public health officials, your administration, they're in unison about this. No. They're all in unison about it. The university.
I want to slap her. He just said he's fine with them. And she's going down there. Oh, but your advisors are saying it's good, and it's infuriating.
Yeah.
This is what I meant earlier about arguing with people. There's people I know IRL. They do this, and it drives me up the fucking wall. And it actually, when I talk to people I know and I get this kind of shit, there's a part of my brain going, well, this isn't. This is just a social occasion. This is just two people or more having a chat, and it's kind of getting heated. Let it go, or navigate it as a social thing. But we're talking about the media, highly very specifically organized event, and it's structured so that there's supposed to be civil discourse. But she's acting like a freaking child. It's like I said, what's 2 + 2? And if he said 4, she'd go, oh, but you're say it's 4. Why are you saying it's 5? It's ridiculous.
Well,
that's why I'd be so glad if Trump wins. Because I want some of these people to just get a metaphorical slap in the face. Anyway, that's enough of my rant.
Well, I was going to just comment on it. It's just,
the University of Washington, which is they have a model that your coronavirus task force relies.
I was going to comment on that. You're absolutely right. I mean, I get into spirited arguments, like debates that become highly argumentative with my grandfather all the time. But the thing is neither of us play this little nitpick game at the way one of us worded something, which is what she's doing. It's this constant little nitpick. It's like you said, the whole, why are you saying it's 4? Why did you say 5 type thing? If he came out and said something, okay, so like today's statistics, I saw this earlier in the Athens Discord. Someone had brought up the number of COVID cases today, and then somebody else asked, okay, how many deaths? And they said 998. I went and checked because I wanted to just double check the statistics. Technically, it was 1,002 deaths when I went and looked up the statistics like a half hour later. But this is the kind of thing where if I was going to be nitpicky, I would have said, actually, it's 1,002. You're wrong. Why'd you say 998? Do those 4 lives not matter? That's what she's doing, and it's fucking annoying.
Did you say that? Did you go in and...
No, I didn't. I'm saying people who do shit like that.
Oh my god, what are you doing? You're evil. Your job on the internet is to correct misinformation. I don't care if it's out by 0.0000001%. You have to do it. One person saying the wrong thing could cause a catastrophic meltdown of the geopolitical landscape, the economy, and it could even cause the COVID virus to mutate into something that takes over our brains and turn us into zombies. Oh, hang on, it already has. Oh shit, sorry. Anyway,
no. I refute that. My job on the internet is to be an annoying little piece of shit to idiots. I'm not very good at my job, but I try.
Yeah, well, as opposed to what they do, which is be an annoying little shit to people who are actually thinking. Let's carry on.
Says that if
I'm saying my job on the internet is to be a shitlord, by the way.
everyone wore a mask, you could cut expected deaths in half.
And then you have other people that disagree.
Well, what does that mean?
Scott Atkins, if you look at Scott, Dr. Scott, he's from great guy, Stanford. He will tell you
he's
that
not
he
an
disagrees
infectious
with you.
disease expert.
Oh, I don't know. Look, he's an expert. He's one of the great experts of the world.
But I don't get it because you have so much power and influence as president. You could go to you could require it at your rallies, and you could say, everyone put on a mask right now. And the University of Washington says you would save lives.
University of Washington, and you have other places say different things. You have a lot of, hey, Dr. Fauci said don't wear a mask, right?
At first, but then everybody agreed.
Well, I don't know that he changed his mind. But then you have a report coming out 2 days ago that 85% of the people wearing masks.
I looked at that report. It's not about mask wearing. It was neutral on the question of masks.
We're on the same side. I say wear the mask. I'm fine with it. I have no problem. We're on the same side.
Let's take a break. We're going to get more questions right after this.
Oh shit, I forgot to account for the possibility of ads. I don't think we have any, but yeah, I think okay, we have basically an intermission which we can use to just chat, I think.
Yeah.
Who was that? He said Scott Adkins or something like that?
Yeah, sounded like it. I thought he said Scott Adams.
No, I know he didn't say Adams, and I'm sitting there going, okay, Scott Adams is not a medical expert.
Well, I just Googled. Apparently, there's an English actor by that name.
I don't think that's who he's thinking about.
Hang on. No. Okay, so I've got some Australian dude.
There is a Dr. Adkins.
Hello, everyone.
On COVID.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm still not 100% sure. but
yeah,
whoever it was, that's the exact same thing where she's playing that game. It's like whoever it is, sure, they might not be a epidemiologist or an infectious or other kind of infectious disease expert, but if they're a trained medical professional, they're still a fucking trained medical professional. I'd be a little concerned if the guy he was citing was a chiropractor or a magnet woohoo therapist or something like that.
So it was Scott Adams, was it?
No, I don't know.
Or is it? I don't know. No, it isn't. So who is... damn it.
Do you want to back it up and hear it again, just to be sure?
Nah, don't worry about it. It's... Okay, it's... But you're right, though. It's weird how that, if somebody's an expert, if they've got a major qualification, they're an expert and they can deal with anything when it suits you. But if it's, if you want to counter your opposition, you go, oh, yes, but they're not in this specific area. I bet she's the kind of person who gets shitty if someone points out that, Bill Nye isn't actually an expert, or sorry, he's not a scientist.
Yeah, he's an engineer.
Because he said something to show. Yeah. But if you're on his show, oh, here we go. We'll just pause it quick while I say that.
Yep, go ahead.
I think it's something very specific. Like a few years back, lots of people were complaining about him. And I thought, okay, if he's going to come up with if he's going to write a thesis, I'm going to say, well, Bob, what's your background? But if he's on his show presenting stuff, I think it's a bit unfair because he would then be drawing on other people, presumably. And I would then have to say, okay, well, what's the actual merits of it? You can't, once again, deal with the actual merits, deal with the details, but they're not. It's like a game of, it's like people are dick measuring with their fucking resumes or something. It's another irritating thing that I wish would bugger off. There should be a law against that. I think Trump should put that on his platform, right? It's a law. You're not allowed to be a dick, and in certain ways, like that's one of them.
Nah, because then we won't know who the actual dicks are.
Yeah. I'm willing to make an exception.
No, it's that kind of, what is it? Pedantry, I think is the word. It's that kind of fucking pedantry that just makes it's literally the actually meme manifest into reality. When the internet starts reflecting real life, we've gone completely honk.
No, we're already there. I think it's a symbiotic relationship, and you can see real life popping up on the internet, and I can see the internet interfering with life with people.
I don't think it's symbiotic. I think it's parasitic both ways.
Well, that's possibly both the same thing, maybe. But I know people who are not on Twitter, and when I have heated discussions with them, by which I mean shitty, annoying fucking arguments with idiots where I have to be a shitlord IRL, when I have those encounters, sometimes I'm standing there listening to them, I'm thinking it's like Twitter's come to life. I start looking for the block button, mute button, or, I go to my phone and I start finding a meme or something. I literally do. I see people and sometimes, and it's like arguing with someone on Twitter. This is scary.
Yeah. I'll let you hit play then.
Oh, okay. Hang on. What happened?
I have no bloody idea.
Oh, well.
Very much.
We're a hard-working middle-class family.
I am going to back up a bit here. Sorry about this, folks.
President Trump for a town hall. Thank you again, Mr. President. We have another voter now.
Close
Christy
enough.
Alonzo, come on out, Christy. She is leaning slightly towards you. She says she voted for you in 2016. Christy, you ready? Take the mask off, hold the mic close, and let's hear your question.
Thank you for your service, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
We're a hard-working middle-class family of four. My husband and I are both self-employed, and we have to get our own individual health care. As you know, healthcare costs have gone up considerably over the decades, and you had originally said you were going to repeal and replace Obamacare. What is your plan now in 2020 to make healthcare costs affordable for Americans like myself?
So we got rid of the individual mandate on Obamacare, which was the worst part of Obamacare. And now you could actually say it's not Obamacare because that's how big it was, where you had to pay a fortune for the privilege of not having to pay for bad health insurance. So we got rid of that. That was a big, big thing. And by doing that, and we will always have, by the way, we're always protecting people with pre-existing conditions, and I can't say that more strongly. But we've been able to bring health care costs way down. Now, I took over Obamacare, got rid of the individual mandate, made it good, managed it much better. Remember, they had the $5 billion website disaster and all of the problems they had. The problem with Obamacare, it's not good. We'd like to terminate it, and we want a much less expensive health care that's a much better health care, and that's where we're aiming. And if we can do that, and we have a very good chance of doing it, but we've also brought down the price of Obamacare. Problem with Obamacare, it basically is never going to be great, and I want to give great health care.
Mr. President, I got to follow up.
Even though he said that, there's a lot of people who would be watching this go, he wants to make people sick. He doesn't care. Oh, yeah. That's another. It's, and we wouldn't be here. Ooh, I'm going to say something out there. I'm going to mention a loser in a second. If it weren't for you know who, Mr. McCain, we wouldn't be hearing this bloody annoying freaking argument, would we?
Nope, we wouldn't. But,
one person.
But we have. Yeah, but we have Arizona's. What's the most polite way of putting this? Fuck it, he's dead, and I hated him when he was alive anyway. We have Arizona's scum-sucking lamprey to blame for it. And I'm sorry to anyone who has pet lampreys or is familiar with lampreys. I don't mean to insult them. I'm sure they're nice creatures, despite their horror faces.
Yeah.
I'll hit play.
Very much.
On the pre-existing conditions, this is such a big issue for voters.
It is a big issue for me, too.
In point of fact...
Yeah, he's got a pre-existing condition now. So is his opposition. Anyway, sorry. Just
your administration is about to go to the Supreme Court to argue to throw out the rest of Obamacare, which includes the protections for pre-existing conditions.
That's right.
So your administration is in court right now trying to get rid of that protection.
In order to replace it with a much better health care at a much lower price, and always, under all circumstances, we are going to protect the Republicans. And I mean, maybe I changed the party a lot over the last 3 years, but we will protect people with pre-existing conditions. And Savannah, what I want to do, get rid of the terrible Obamacare. I've already done it to a large extent because, as you know, the individual mandate is gone. That was the worst part.
You repealed, but you haven't replaced. Now, you've been in office almost 4 years. You had both houses of Congress, Senate and House, in Republican hands, and there is not a replacement yet.
That's right. I'm sorry, but if you look, we had both houses, and what did we do? We got rid of the individual mandate.
But
that went through the legislature.
The promise was repeal and replace.
Look, we should be on the same side. I want it very simple. I'm going to put it very simple. We would like to terminate it, and we would like to replace it with something that's much less expensive and much better. We will always protect people with pre-existing conditions.
But if you're successful in court in November, those pre-existing conditions, that promise will be gone.
If we don't succeed, we are running the remnants of whatever's left because we took it apart. We are running the remnants of whatever is left much better than the previous administration, which ran it very badly. But we'd like to have new health care, much better and much less expensive.
Let me get to question number 5, and you'll like this. He's stuck in traffic. His name is Joe White. He is registered as a Democrat. He says he's leaning toward Biden and voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. And his question was, a second stimulus payment has been broadly agreed upon by the Republicans and Democrats, and yet now we're in October and it's still not passed. Why not use your office to make the second stimulus payment a separate targeted emergency relief package to help Americans weather the pandemic?
I can answer that before he does, because he doesn't have the power to do it.
Are you questioning the omnipotence of the God Emperor?
He's immortal. He's not, but he doesn't have unlimited political power. No, he simply doesn't have that power. even if he signed an executive order for it, the president cannot sign an executive order to a proportion discretionary spending, and these stimulus and relief packages fall under the classification of discretionary spending. Only the Congress has that power.
Well, we've actually passed 3 packages, and we're on our 4th, and I agree with him 100%. He should vote for me. The problem you have is Nancy Pelosi. She couldn't care less about the worker. She couldn't care less about our people.
That's true. She cares about one thing and one thing only.
I just ran it through a fact checker, and nothing wrong.
She just cares about her donors and the donating class. That's it.
And we should have a stimulus, and I want a stimulus. The Republicans will approve a stimulus.
And a next drink, of course.
Of course. But hey,
stimulus. The problem is she doesn't want to do it because she thinks it's bad for her election. The fact is she's wrong, because people know she's in our way. She's not approving it. She doesn't appreciate our people, and she doesn't appreciate at all our workers. Nancy Pelosi, we are ready to sign and pass stimulus, but she's got to
People do not love the back and forth of Washington, but this has been a roller coaster. Back in early October, you one day tweeted, no more negotiations until after Election Day. I'm walking away. Then I think the next couple of days you said maybe we can do something targeted. Then you said I want a big bill, but then Senate Republicans said, no, we're not for that. So you're the big deal maker. How come this is so? You yourself have changed positions.
Did you ever hear of a word called negotiation? We're negotiating, okay?
But people's lives are hanging in the balance.
And you know who I'm negotiating against? Nancy Pelosi, because she doesn't want to give the money. We should have stimulus. This was not our people's fault. This was China's fault. And she's penalizing our people. I'm ready to sign a big, beautiful stimulus. You saw the other day, I say, go big or go home, right?
That's what I
want it to be big. I want it to be bold. I want the money to go directly to the people.
Senate Republicans with you? They're going to go big? They'll go. Big old number?
They'll go. They're going to be very happy.
Okay, because so far they have not said they would.
Because I haven't asked them to, because I can't get through Nancy Pelosi.
Okay.
If Nancy Pelosi and I, through my representatives or directly, I don't care, if we agree to something, the Republicans will agree to it.
Okay. Our next question comes from, this is interesting. She voted for Clinton in 2016, but recently changed her registration from Democrat to Independent.
I just thought of something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one of the reasons that Donald Trump's having trouble with Pelosi is because he's a teetotaler. He doesn't understand how to talk to a drunk.
Yeah, that could be it.
Just thought of that, just putting it out there.
I mean, he could put me in there.
Yeah.
I'm not a drunk. Yeah. I'm not a drunk, but I do. I can at least sit down with Nancy with a glass of scotch and go,
yeah.
You don't get this. I could hold the glass. I could hold the bottle of scotch and say, you don't get this until you give me this. And then
we should put ourselves forward as special.
And then just take a slow sip.
Yeah. We could get in his cabinet as special advisors. How are you going to get this? How are you going to get this stimulus package through?
The other thing you could probably,
carton.
The other thing you could probably hold hostage for her would be the Botox needle.
Oh yeah, well,
I wouldn't say take her dentures. She needs those to talk, even though her not talking probably would be a good thing.
What about the duct tape under her wig? That would probably be.
I don't think she's
want to go without that.
I don't think she's got fake hair. Remember, women don't lose their hair quite like we gents do. So it can.
She's still got the duct tape there. I'm sure of it. Holding her face on, holding it back, so fucking goes down. Yeah, well, let's keep it going. This woman doesn't look impressed. I think we have a Karen coming up here.
I don't know. We'll see.
She says she's truly undecided. She's truly undecided. Her name's Becky Lightman. Hello, Becky. What's your question?
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Nice to see you. Thank you.
Good to see you. So, corporate tax rates are a hot button issue, and you have cut corporate tax rates, and your opponent Joe Biden is planning to raise them.
Right.
A lot of Americans think that corporations don't pay their share of taxes and want to see those tax rates increase. Right. What do you say to those Americans to maybe tell them why you want the corporate tax rate lower and why that helps them?
It's a great question. We've created more jobs than this country has ever created. We're up to 160 million jobs. We were never even close to that number. We were just hitting 160 million jobs. Companies are pouring into our nation because of the tax rate. And if Biden comes in and raises taxes on everybody, including middle income taxes, which he wants to do, you will blow this thing and you'll end up with a depression, the likes of which you've never had. That's what's going to happen. We have something that's really good. The reason we're coming back so strong is because we built a very strong foundation. Companies are moving in. Car companies are moving in.
Oh God, could you imagine where the United States would be right now if it was still in an anemic recovery when this thing hit?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Pretty bad, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
To Michigan and to Ohio and to South Carolina and North Carolina just today. So what's happening is they're coming in because we reduced the taxes. Our taxes, our corporate taxes, were the highest in the world, and now they're among the lower taxes. They're not the lowest, but they're among the lowest. And what that means is jobs. But also, we're doing a very big, and we've done a very big middle-income tax package. So if we get in, we're going to do the middle-income tax package. But it's a great question. And if he comes along and raises rates, all those companies that are coming in, they will leave the U.S. so fast your head will spin. We can't let that happen.
On the subject of taxes, as you know, the New York Times has obtained, it says, years of your tax returns, among other things. It says that you have debts of approximately $421 million that you have personally guaranteed and that will come due in the next 4 years. The question is, on behalf of voters, who do you owe $421 million?
Okay,
I knew this was coming.
What they did is illegal, number one. Also...
Okay, this is...
At the time, because I don't know any details yet, okay, it would have been better, I would say, to said allegedly illegal. It may likely be illegal what the New York Times publishing that shit. It all depends where they got it from.
Yeah.
If they got it from somebody in the government, yes. It is, if it got leaked to them, it is illegal. There are specific laws in place that protect every single citizen, regardless of whether they're a public employee or not, from having their private tax information leaked. It's kind of like HIPAA, which, if you're not familiar, HIPAA is is a law that protects the privacy of one's medical records. The taxes are basically treated in the same sort of vein. It is a federal felony to leak somebody's individual tax returns and records without their permission. The same as it is a federal felony to do the same with medical records.
Yeah, actually, on that point, I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but I think I heard something a little while back, probably right after that New York Times article dropped. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure exactly what but I think the basic gist was, if Trump actually talked about it and said anything about his tax situation, he'd actually be breaking the law because it's being audited. And my understanding is it's similar to how you can't talk about a court case when there's a
if the court case, you can't talk about a court case under there's 3 conditions where you can't talk about a court case. The first one is if you're a member of the jury. If you're the judge, you're not allowed to talk about it. The prosecutor and the defense have more liberty with that. However, if the judge puts a gag order on the court, nobody is allowed to talk about the proceedings inside the courtroom outside of it.
Yes. And I think with I'm not sure if, as I said, I'm not 100% sure if it's true, but I think because an audit is like an like a legal investigation, he's not allowed to talk about it. And I've heard that before, so I'm not, I'd have to check the specifics.
I'm not sure of. I still think it is completely legal for the subject of the audit to release things like their records and other things like that, because they're their records. Just as how I'm allowed to release my medical records to anyone I want, as long as they have the proper release form signed by me They can access those records. If somebody has my a release form signed by me or representatives on my behalf for my tax records, they can access my tax records. But if the New York Times got them from somebody who does not have signed releases authorizing that person to access them, that is a crime.
Yeah. I think it might have more. You're not allowed to talk about an ongoing case or something like that. It's not so much you're releasing it. It's the case, the fact that it's in investigation.
An audit is a little different in how it happens.
Yeah.
So I don't.
And from my understanding, the audit is a bit like it's analogous to a contract being negotiated or something. Anyway, I don't want to dwell on it too long.
Yeah. Let's not get too much into the minutiae.
There is like there's got to be something in all of that. Like you can't, if you're being audited, I just thought of the other side, which is if you're being audited and he's on film, he's on tape all the time, he's being video recorded and the media wants him to talk about it. It's entirely possible he's just sitting there just going, look, I'm not going to say something about my situation because an audit will often turn up things that are like where one payment is reclassified or something else. Little details can change, and they're going to jump on it.
Oh, of course.
It's. But I did find when I heard that being said, it suddenly struck me. It's like he does sound like he's saying, I can't talk about it until this is all done.
Yeah.
And even if it's still, because he seems to be talking about his arrangements with the tax department, like it's an ongoing negotiation, and
that could be the case, and it could also
it may not even be finalized.
It could be while he might be legally allowed to talk about it, his lawyers have advised him not to.
Yeah,
and if that's the case, I don't see anything wrong with it. Simply because no one should be. See, this is the catch. This is the thing with this. If anyone has a problem with him taking his lawyer's advice and not saying anything, what you are basically telling me, if you have that problem, is that you want him to put himself at risk of self-incrimination. No. Even if he didn't commit any frauds, crimes, evasions, etc., you should never put yourself at the risk of self-incrimination, and you should never want somebody else to do the same.
Yeah. And that's a big thing in the US. I mean, it's a big thing here if you encounter the law, but it's not. It's for the impression I get from Americans is it's like
it's sacrosanct.
Something you're taught when you're young. It's right. It's something your parent would tell their child. By the way, if you encounter a cop, don't say anything until you got a lawyer.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
You're under no obligation. You don't have to say anything.
And it comes from I believe it's one of the three. It's the 4th, 5th, or 6th, and I think it's the 5th Amendment, because the 5th Amendment says that you cannot be compelled to stand as a witness against yourself. And self-incrimination is a way that self-incrimination can be coerced, for lack of better words, is by being forced to stand as a witness against yourself. Yeah. Don't put yourself at risk.
Even if you're telling the truth, it can be used against you.
Correct.
Everyone knows that.
Correct.
Well, not everyone knows it.
That's why you get pulled over for a traffic ticket. The officer asks you, do you know how fast you were going? You simply say, nope.
Really?
Just tell the officer you have no idea how fast you were going. Now, I'm watering it down really, 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 really low. I would say look into things a little bit more because they can trap you up on certain things. But see, here's the thing. If you say, yes, I did know how fast I was going, you just admitted to breaking the law.
What if you say I was driving under the speed limit? Or I believe I was driving within, legally or something like that.
You've still said more than you should have. If you have the intention of fighting a traffic ticket, for a speeding ticket, just say no to the question. Typically, they'll write you the ticket. Obviously, be polite, be concise, do everything the officer tells you to do. 10 and 2, present your, actually, hell, when the cop pulls you over, the very first thing you should be doing is, first of all, do not take your seatbelt off. But the very first thing you should be doing is getting your driver's license, your car's insurance card, and I think in some states you even need the title. And you need to have those immediately ready to hand it, put those in your hand, hand it to. When the officer comes over, hand them to the officer. Asks you any questions, simply say no. What'll end up happening is you'll get written a ticket, and then you can fight the ticket if you want to. I recommend it because in a lot of cases, unless the officer can prove without a doubt, or you confessed, you can actually beat some speeding tickets in the court. The courts do not like litigating speeding tickets because it costs them more than they get out of you. So, anyway, we shall continue, I suppose.
Yeah.
So the numbers are all wrong with the numbers they released. And just so you understand, when you have a lot of real estate, I have real estate, you know a lot of it, okay? Right down the road, Doral, big stuff, great stuff. When I decided to run, I'm very under-levered, fortunately, but I'm very under-levered. I have a very, very small percentage of debt compared, in fact, some of it I did as favors to institutions that wanted to loan me money. $400 million compared to the assets that I have, all of these great properties all over the world, and frankly, the Bank of America building in San Francisco. I don't love what's happening to San Francisco.
Well, do I hear you right? It sounds like you're saying $400 million isn't that much.
One of the biggest office buildings.
But are you confirming that, yes, you do owe some $400 million?
What I'm saying is that it's a tiny percentage of my net worth.
That sounds like
And
yes.
you'll see that soon because we're doing things, We've given, I think it's 108 or 112 pages of financial detail to elections. And, we have to file it as the president, as any politician, you have to file. Nobody ever looks at that. When they do, they see how incredible the company is. But more importantly, they see where this debt is. No, I don't owe Russia money. I owe a very, very small, it's called mortgages. Yeah. People have a house, they put a mortgage.
Any foreign bank, any foreign entity?
Not that I know of, but I will probably, because it's so easy to solve, and if you'd like to do, I will let you know who I owe whatever small amount of money. I want to say two things. Number one, it's a very small amount of money. Number two, it's very straight. It's very, very straight. But it's a tiny percentage of the worth.
I would like to say one thing, though. I think if the 400 million figure is true, my betting odds are that it's, that's obviously a massive amount of money. More than any you or I are ever likely to see in our lifetimes. But I would go off, if I was to wager a bet, I would say that it's probably dispersed into hundreds, if not thousands, of differently held debts. Like, maybe he's got a mortgage for a building the mortgage is like $200 million. Oh, not 200, but it's like $20 million here. Maybe he's got a mortgage for, or maybe he's got a loan out, maybe he has something for a car or something, a high-end car or something that's maybe $70,000, $700,000 or something like that. It's probably not, it sounds like she and the media class have been trying to say, oh, he must owe this massive sum of money to the Russian oligarchs or Winnie the Pooh. And I'm sitting there going, I don't think that would be the case. Real estate investor, and like Donald Trump was before he ran for president, he's got money every fucking where. He's got a little bit of something in just about every pot you can think of. Some of them might not be above the board.
Did you ever hear the expression underlevered?
Yeah.
I am extremely underlevered.
Well, here's the thing. You could clear this up tonight by just releasing your tax returns yourself. I mean, that's what I don't understand. I think people are just wondering.
As you know,
you're
I'm
the
under
only.
audit. It turned out that I am
yes,
under audit.
But the
they
IRS
actually
says
excuse me. No, but you
the
accused
IRS says that doesn't stop you from releasing.
You accused me of not being under audit previously, and so did other people at NBC, and I am under audit. So that was solved. That's good. I am under audit. No person in their right mind would release prior to working out the deal with the IRS. And I'll go a step further. I'm treated very badly by the IRS. They treat me very, very badly. You have people in there from previous administrations. They treat me very badly. But we're under audit. It's very routine in many ways, but we're under audit. They like to change the game, change the rules, do everything. You saw what they did with the Tea Party people. You saw what they did with the religious groups.
But to be clear, there is no law or rule that prohibits you from releasing your tax returns.
Except common sense and intelligence and having lawyers that say, because I would love to release them, and as soon as we...
Called it. His lawyers are probably the ones telling him, don't fucking do it.
Come to a conclusion...
Well, also the common sense part, I think, was...
Well, yeah, and there is something... There's something Ben Shapiro's been on about for the last 4 years or so, every time Trump's taxes come up, and I think he might be onto something there, too. It's also possible there's a certain element of ego in it. Trump might not be worth as much money as he kind of hints at claiming to be worth, and he doesn't want it to come out that he's worth less than that. Maybe he doesn't want it to come out that maybe in the last 3 to 4 years, his net worth has slumped below $1 billion. Who knows?
Yeah, it's very...
I think that's kind of what the media wants. The media wants to prove that, he's not a billionaire, ha. That kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a win. Yeah, so they win either way. Actually, that's what I was thinking about before. Like, the legal aspect of it is... what I found interesting when I first heard about that and started thinking about it is they want to win either way. They're putting him in a pincer move. Right, you can either keep it hidden, in which case we'll just keep shitting on you, or you'll bring it out and we'll find something to talk about. And that's their game.
Yeah.
I mean, it even seems to be the way they're running. I mean, this is my little it's not so much a theory. I don't necessarily know if it's true, but the impression I get from the whole election is they've got a plan for if Trump wins. They've got a plan for if Biden wins. If Trump wins, they're going to say he's cheating. If Biden wins, they're going to say that
referendum on Trump, orange man terrible, and then they're going to immediately proceed to chuck all of the neocons under a bus.
Yeah, it's just one way or the other. They just keep doing it.
And once again, and I will keep saying this until the election, neoconservatives, if Trump wins, you're still fucked. But if Biden wins, oh man, you're hogtied and fucked.
It's gonna be lynching.
Nah, it won't be that. But it'll be pretty fucking close.
Oh.
Conclusion, I will release them, and very gladly. But if you go to elections, and if you take a look, you'll see 112, I think it's 112. It talks about the income, which is rather massive. It talks about all of the properties. They have them listed. You can never learn more. But you know what happened? People went there. All the reporters went. There was like a feeding frenzy. This was originally when I filed it. And I filed it every year. I update it every year. My son is here. They run the company. I don't run the company.
It also says that you paid $750 in taxes in the year you were elected. Is that true or not?
I'm annoyed by that. Oh, $750. I remember when this story first broke, and they go, in the last 15 years, paid zero over 10 years. And in 2017 and in 2016 and 17, he paid $750. And that straight away, I just thought, it's bullshit, isn't it? Like $750. How? It's so bloody low compared to what his net worth is and what he's earning, income and all that. But it's so specific, isn't it? Like, it's obviously not a percent of his income. It's got to be something like a filing fee or something.
I don't know. I mean, truth be told, the tax issue with Trump is something when the idiots start talking about it, my eyes kind of start to glaze over a bit because one, I just don't know enough about taxes as a rule. Two, I don't see it as a pertinent issue for presidential candidates. Unless there is an actual, evidentiarily backable amount of concern about their income sources. Cough, Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, cough.
Has Joe released his?
Apparently he has, but the problem there is that's not the way that the fraud works, which is why the tax releases don't matter. These people, these politically connected people, have other ways that will never show up as income of getting kickbacks and bribes.
Yeah. Well, I remember in 2016, it was I remember people, various pundits talking about it. Basically, it's always been there. It's an act of good faith. That's really all it is. It's part of your it's like a ritual of cleansing that you have to do before you become president.
Which I think is stupid. Yeah. And I don't think I have, now this doesn't mean anything, of course. I don't think I have ever met anyone who genuinely thinks that a candidate's tax forms being released is a pertinent and critical election issue. And the media has been trying to make it into one.
I don't know. I think it has been for years. That's one of the... We wouldn't get that here, but it is every 4 years when the election cycle comes around, it is something you sort of hear about.
Well,
at some point, someone will bring it up.
More specifically, it's something the Democrats have been doing for years, because of the fact that a lot of the Republican candidates seem to have a greater amount of respect for privacy and personal independence. The left, which does not have much in the way of respect for privacy and independence, that's a type of individualism. We can't have that. They've turned it into a wedge issue that they can use to beat Republican candidates with. They did this to Romney, they did this to McCain, they did this to Bush. Now, in the case of all of them, I'm not saying that they might not have dark money. The point is, it's something the left candidate always comes out and says, "Look how pure and virtuous I am. Here are my taxes." And when the Republican says, "It's my personal business, thank you." Look at them. They're hiding something. If they won't come out and show you, they are hiding things. It's been a stick that they've been able to beat them with for years.
Yeah, well, both sides have been doing that one way or the other anyway.
Oh, of course. It's one of the few things the Republicans picked up on as a wedge issue that they can use to beat the stick on the other way, but it doesn't, well, for lack of better words, it doesn't stick to Democrats the same way it does to Republicans. And that goes back to the Republicans' main underlying problem for years until Trump comes along of accepting attacks, of cowing into attacks, whereas the Democrats just ignore them. And then Trump comes along, a New York Democrat, for lack of better words, and he, like the Democrats typically have been for years when there's attacks made against him, he's like Teflon. He doesn't fucking care. He actually bites back. And that's one of the biggest reasons he's been so popular with a lot of people. Because people on the right in particular are sick and tired of their candidates rolling over like... What would be a good thing? Rolling over like a deflated mattress. Not a good analogy. I gotta work on my analogies. Anything else input? Sorry to ramble on there. Rant over.
That's a statutory number. It's a statutory.
But is that true?
I think it's a filing number. You pay $750. It's a filing or filing fee.
Most people here probably pay more.
No, I don't know. I can tell you this.
Okay, I'm not done with that. As I started that little detail,
there we go.
It's got to be. It's so obvious that it's some kind. It's a standard amount of something. It's a filing fee. Because it makes no sense any other way. And they can't be this stupid. They cannot be that stupid to not see that. And I swear to God, there must be people out there. Surely there's going to be a lot of people just thinking the same as I am. It's obviously a filing fee or some such thing. It gives me the shits. I'll try and calm down a bit now.
Oh shit. Hit a wrong button for some reason. Fuck. God damn it, Twitter ads. Sorry.
I'll
tell you this. If they have my tax returns, as you know, they have to go to jail. It's illegal. But their numbers were wrong. But let me tell you what else. I don't owe money to any of these sinister people. This has been going on for years now. Russia, Russia, Russia. It turned out to be a hoax. And it turned out to be that Hillary Clinton and the Democrats were dealing with Russia, not me. It's a whole hoax. So I would not mind at all saying who it is, but it's a very small. When you look at vast properties like I have, and they're big and they're beautiful and they're well located, when you look at that, the amount of money, $400 million, is a peanut. It's extremely underlevered. And it's levered with normal banks. Not a big deal.
All right, let's take a break. We'll get more voter questions right after this.
You know, he keeps saying it, you know. I think he's done it several times in here where he's talking about his it's beautiful, they're well located. Do you reckon at this stage, after so long in real estate, that he cannot not say that if he starts talking about business? He's still a real estate man.
He's still a real estate man, and he's an entertainer too. I mean, his years on television, he is the very definition of a showman.
Oh, I think that's separate from the whole showman thing. I think it's like a twitch. It's grilled into his brain. He said it so many times. It is almost like a twitch, like, ugh. You know, property. Oh, well located. Shit.
Yeah, and the showman cannot stop being a showman when he's in it long enough. I mean,
you know, if he starts talking about property rights or something, if he, changes the law or something, you go, well located, our property rights, well located, beautiful.
If he started talking about property rights seriously, I'd just be going, yes. Oh, apparently MailChimp is now not satisfied with simply censoring people that they don't like. MailChimp is now going to start fact-checking people who use their service. Their service is simply the whole purpose of their service is to be a mass newsletter emailer. Not check the fucking content of what's going out.
Oh, hang on. Have you heard the other piece of that's going to sound sane compared to what I'm about to tell you.
Oh, God, what?
In case you haven't heard it. Apparently, YouTube have been restricting people or outright banning them, apparently, for watching videos.
MailChimp's going to start doing that?
No, YouTube apparently has been doing this. They've been sending warnings out to people that they're in breach of the rules for having something in their watch later list that's not even their video. Have you heard about that?
No. Oh my God.
How mental is that? You might even be watching it you might be making a debunking video or something. You go to watch it. No, sorry, you can't do that. That's spreading false information. Even if you debunk it. It is... Imagine that. Imagine reading a tweet and being told, sorry, but we're going to have to give you a permanent suspension because you read fake news. What?
Yeah. Oh, God. It gets even...
Damned if we do, damned if we don't.
I absolutely fucking hate the Sherman Antitrust Act for a lot of different reasons. But what we've reached a point with the internet, we've reached a point with some of these social media companies that they have become the public square. Whether they intended to or not, they have become the public square.
Yep. Well, you're referring to people talking in the public square, aren't you?
The concept of discourse and discussion occurring.
Yeah. Well, you know what else happens in public squares?
Oh, dear Lord.
Execution.
I knew you were going to say it.
Historically true. Just saying.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're going to get us yeeted off of YouTube.
How the fuck we survive this? How the fuck we survive this long anyway? I don't know.
Because we're nobodies.
Yeah. Oh, they're
We are
gonna
live
wait.
in Miami in the middle of a town hall with President Trump. Thank you again for being here. We've got another voter, Adam Shooker. He voted for Clinton in 2016. He's registered as a Democrat and says he's supporting Biden. Adam, take it away.
Thank you, Savannah. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Adam.
4 years ago, Senate leadership said it was inappropriate to push through a nominee in an election year. Yet they fast-tracked your nominee for the Supreme Court just today. The question I have for you is, what do you say to the voter that thinks it's hypocritical to act in that manner and that they can't trust Republicans' word?
So when I was elected and when a president is elected, they're elected for a period of 4 years. And Justice Ginsburg said it best, I think talking about President Obama having to do with somebody else, that the president is put there for 4 years, not for 3 years. So during this fourth year, it happened to come up, unfortunately, because I had great respect for Justice Ginsburg, but a vacancy happened to come up, and we picked somebody that's outstanding. She has been an absolute star, and I'm extremely proud of it. But again, plenty of time. I mean, there's plenty of time. We're going to do it before the election, but we also have much time after the election, but there's no reason to wait because it's almost unanimous, it seems to me, certainly within the Republican Party and, frankly, most of the Democrats within closed rooms. I guarantee you that this is an outstanding person, and I'm using my fourth term. And you know, if you look at it, and if you put the shoe on the other foot, if they had this, they would do it 100%. So there's been 29 times when this has happened. All 29 times a president has done exactly what I've done.
Can I just, to the voters' point, I'll just say that in 2016 you were on another show, actually another morning show, and you were asked whether President Obama should nominate a Supreme Court Justice Merrick Garland, and you said, I think the Senate should wait until the next president and let the president pick. Now, that was 8 months before the
Senate, not the president.
election. This is 3 weeks before the election.
I have a lot of respect, by the way.
So you have changed your position on this.
I have a lot of respect for Judge Garland, I want to tell you that. But I'll tell you, the whole ball game changed when I saw the way they treated.
He could have just said, yes, his position's changed a bit on that. And he would have been perfectly still well within the realms of his original statement, earlier statements.
Justice Kavanaugh, I have never seen any human being, and I'm not just talking about Supreme Court, I have never seen a human being treated so badly with false accusations and everything else. I have never seen anything like it. And you know what? The truth is, Savannah, like it or not, the ball game changed a lot. There has never been anybody treated so badly as now Justice Kavanaugh.
You've mentioned that you would like to see Amy Coney Barrett confirmed to the Supreme Court in case any challenges come up in connection with the election.
Yeah.
Do you expect her to rule for you?
I think she'll have to make that decision. I don't think she has any conflict at all. You know, a Supreme Court judge does not have, I mean, they can make their own decision. And they actually have additional power to make that decision. It would be totally up to her. I would think that she would be able to rule either for me or against me. I don't see any conflict whatsoever. We have an election coming up. I think it's the most important election in the history of our country. If for any chance, and it probably won't, and I hope it doesn't ever get to the Supreme Court, but if it did, I would think that she would rule one way or the other. I would think so.
But for you think she would rule for you?
I have no idea.
I mean, of course she'll rule one way or the other, but...
Believe it or not, I never asked her about it. I never talked about it. I didn't talk about any of the obvious things that you could talk about. And I think a lot of people in my position might. But in speaking to a lot of very brilliant people and people that do this for a living, they say it's better not to talk. So I talked to her about life. I talked to her about the fact, would you like to do this? Are you willing to do this? Because it's a tremendous burden. The answer was yes. She's unbelievably well qualified, but I never spoke to her about these various questions.
Let's get our next voter. She's leaning to you, Mr. President. She voted for you in 2016. She is a registered Republican. Her name is Mariah Green. Mariah, what's your question?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. President. I'm honored to be with you here tonight, sir, so thank you. I'm a pro-life millennial, and my question for you today is, if Roe v. Wade is ultimately overturned in the future, what protections would be put in place or kept for where the mother's life is in jeopardy in relation to high-risk pregnancies?
Well, again, I'm not ruling on this, and Roe v. Wade is something that a lot of people would say.
Hang on a second. I'm caught. I'm no expert, but I'm calling bullshit on that. If a mother's life is in danger, Roe v. Wade has nothing to do with it.
Correct.
That is,
as far as I understand the ruling, correct. The purpose of the ruling is to just supersede the individual state, legalize individual states and say that no, abortion is legal in all 50 states.
Yeah,
that's it.
My understanding, if the mother's life is in danger and it endangers the child, the unborn as well, like obviously it does. If you're 4 months pregnant or so, 5 or 6 or 7 months pregnant, there's a doctor can just overrule that. They couldn't possibly be held accountable for it if they could prove that there's a danger. I mean, I'm sure there's like edge cases.
Hold on. There's the I have a feeling I kind of know where Trump's going to be going with this answer. He should be going, but the correct answer to this question that this young woman is asking him is that's going to be up to the state you live in.
Yep. Oh, but that's only with what effect would it have if Roe v. Wade is overturned? Does that mean the states can't decide, or the states can overrule it?
That means that states that want to outlaw abortion can outlaw abortion. States that want to expand abortion can expand abortion. It's all up to the states.
Yeah. So clarify now, what exactly is Roe v. Wade doing?
It basically, in like the shittiest Cliff Notes version I can give you, it overrides state bans on abortion and establishes abortion as a protected right under, I think, one of the very loosest interpretations of the 14th Amendment. I don't remember if there is. I think one of the problems with Roe v. Wade is it doesn't even have standing Supreme Court precedents. The Supreme Court decided that states that ban abortion violate the abortion bans in states violate the Constitution. So yeah, in the shittiest Cliff Notes version, Roe v. Wade says it's unconstitutional for states to have laws against abortion. There's a hell of a lot of more context and nuance to the case, but that's, like I said, shittiest Cliff Notes version. It effectively takes away 10th Amendment sovereignty for the states on the matter and hands it to the federal government.
But the states still have a fair amount of power to decide.
They have a fair amount of power as to certain things, like determining when abortions can happen. This is where we cut to the weeks, months type thing arguments.
Yeah.
They have the power to zone. Local governments and stuff have the power to zone and such for where it's allowed. The state medical boards have certain leeway in determining who's qualified to conduct abortions. States still have a lot of power, but all 50 states are required to allow women to have abortions. Some states have made it harder than others. While I don't think it's going to get overturned anytime soon, there are a couple of states that now they're really going to fucking ramp up their laws specifically to get sued by the federal government to specifically challenge. I think Alabama and Georgia are probably high up on that list. Both states in recent years have passed very, very strict versions of what are called heartbeat bills.
Yeah.
I personally think Roe v. Wade should be overturned because it doesn't hold up to constitutional scrutiny. It should be up to the states individually to decide these sorts of things. This is not a power. These are not the kinds of powers the federal government was intended to have.
Yeah. Oh, we'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, back to my point though is, yeah, it's such another staged question.
Yeah, I kind of think it is.
And it's a trick question.
It is, which is why I said the correct answer is, well, that would be, if it's overturned, that's up to whatever state, that's up to the states.
Yeah.
That's the correct answer. And it surprises me. There are a lot of times he gets hit with these types of questions, and he could answer that way. And the reason why that confuses me sometimes is because he's the most... I'm not coming out and saying he is a Federalist, but he's the most pro-Federalist president we've had in either of our lifetimes. That's for sure. Because every single president in the last 50 years has continually increased the amount of power centralized into the federal government. Whereas he's been rolling back centralization on certain things. His COVID response example is a perfect encapsulation of a Federalist's mentality.
Something that a lot of people would say.
Go ahead.
That is something they've really tried to struggle. He's very much been reaffirming this states' rights. He's actually been protecting the fucking Constitution in that regard. It is something he's reinvigorated that in the public discourse. Yet that's the thing they're attacking, and I think that's the big thing that they're scared of. That's one of the things that they really refuse to talk about. They can't even seem to insult him on it. So they keep talking about all these other things.
They can't go after. They know that it's very risky to directly target federalism.
Well, specifically with him, I don't know if it's specifically federalism, but the fact that he's so pro the Constitution, they don't even make shit up about it, apart from the possibly not, peacefully accepting transfer of power. But they don't bring it up because they must know that if you do start talking about it, you are technically advertising the subject. And it's all well and good for them to do that if it's about, all these other things that they bullshit about, because they were already muddy the water. But if you go to, constitutional issues, people go look it up. They can't argue with it. It's not like some video on the internet. There's a specific bloody document. It's over there, and you can go see it. It's tangible.
Well, it's like Senator Harris had tweeted something a few days back. I think you saw it. My response to it when she'd said that the whole nomination process of Amy Coney Barrett was illegitimate, and I replied with not according to what was it, Article 2, Section. Yeah, not according to the fucking Constitution. I'd expect a sitting senator, former attorney general of a state, and experienced and veteran prosecutor to have read the damn thing at least once in their life. But apparently not.
Well, doesn't stop them lying about it. Anyway, let's get on with it.
Say, obviously, you're going to speak to somebody. I also, two other great justices, Justice Gorsuch and Justice Kavanaugh, I never spoke to them about Roe v. Wade. I never spoke to them about election laws. I never spoke to them about anything. And I've done the right thing from a moral standpoint. I don't even know from a legal standpoint, but it was the right thing. I think, depending on what happens with Roe v. Wade, I think that perhaps it could get sent down to the states, and the states would decide. I also think perhaps nothing will happen. I have not talked to her about it. I think it would be inappropriate to talk to her about it. And some people would say you can talk to her about it. I just think it would be inappropriate.
But what is your preference? Because it agreed that's not something you should talk to the judge about. But would you like to see Roe versus Wade overturned?
I would like to see a brilliant jurist, a brilliant person who has done this in great depth and has actually skirted this issue for a long time, make a decision. And that's why I chose her. I think that she's going to make a great decision. I did not tell her what decision to make, and I think it would be inappropriate.
That was a very well-worded, although you did fumble a bit, well-worded response. It's up to them. I want an expert on it. I bet they don't like to print that one too much. You go, but Trump doesn't listen to the experts. Ugh. He just put one in there, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I'm not terribly keen on how he worded it, but the context I agree with, and that's kind of my position on Roe v. Wade. I think it's, like I said, I think it's bad constitutional. I think it's bad. I think it's a bad standing. It's a bad ruling on constitutional grounds. If it's going to be overturned, it needs to be overturned correctly. That's all I have to say on it.
And if it's not overturned, then it needs to be not overturned correctly. Alas, leave it to the expert. And it is.
Well, in the case of the Supreme Court, I would expect a person sitting on the Supreme Court is, lack of better words, an expert. So, yeah.
Inappropriate to say right now because I don't want to do anything to influence her. I want her to get approved, and then I want her to go by the law, and I know she's going to make a great decision for our country.
So you running as a pro-life Republican, most pro-life Republicans would like to see Roe v. Wade overturned and abortion banned.
Many of them would.
What do you
Perhaps
think?
Most of them would. I am telling you, I don't want to do anything to influence anything right now. I don't want to go out tomorrow and say, oh, he's trying to give her a signal, because I didn't speak to her about it. I've done the right thing in so doing. How she's going to rule, you're going to find out perhaps, or you might not find out. I mean, it may never get there. It may never get there. We'll see what happens.
All right. We have another question. This is Cindy Velez. She is undecided. She says she's leaning to Biden, and she did vote for Clinton in 2016. She's registered as a Democrat. Hi, Cindy. What's your question?
Good evening, Savannah.
Cindy,
Good evening,
you.
Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
As the mother of a young male of color, I have raised him to respect authority. Not only.
Okay, I'll add that to the other terms. We've now got POCs and we've got MOCs. FOC, I'm going to have an XOC. Oh, fuck. I can't believe she just said that. Male of color. Really? I hadn't noticed.
You know what's a male of color? The purple envelope for my ballot. Thank you, I'll be here all week. Don't try the fish, it might kill you.
Purple lives matter. Yeah. Oh, God. It is so extraneous, though, isn't it? You know what I'm getting at.
So sick of it.
Oh, it's a male of color.
Oh, I am so sick of it. It's
almost like they say, it goes back to the progressive stack. It's like a rank.
It is. It doesn't. Yeah, it absolutely is. It's just. Why can't you just say, I have a child? I'm sorry. I'm so. People talk about how, well, we're not being divided over race. It's like, we're not the ones dividing people over race. It's the people on the right who don't want to talk about race. It's like, we don't want to talk about race because we don't think it's fucking relevant to a functioning civilized society. You're the ones who keep bringing it up all the fucking time. You're the reasons we can't get past the past. It's the most regressive shit out there.
Not only because it's the right thing to do, but also out of fear that he may face profiling or be considered a criminal. As an educator, I've also had similar conversations with my high school students. Mr. President, what will you and your administration do to better prepare our law enforcement officers to work in collaboration with the communities that they serve, and also to protect the lives of innocent Black and Latinos from police brutality and injustice?
Right.
Oh, see, this is what I mean with this. Just innocent Black and Latino people from police brutality? What about every fucking citizen in the country from police brutality?
Yeah, but we're trying to exterminate white people.
And apparently Asians and Native Americans and Indians.
And the Jews. Yep.
See, this is why this is such bullshit. And this is why when people on the right don't want to fucking compartmentalize things in race, they call us, oh, you're afraid of discussing the issue, or you're secretly a racist. It's like, no, we're individualists. You know what being an individualist means? It means you treat everybody as if they are somebody whose life has value, regardless of any characteristics. But they don't get it because they can only think in characteristics, because they can only think in power structures. Perceived power structures, no less.
I fully understand the question, and I saw everything that you saw over the summer, and it was a terrible thing to watch. We were very strongly, we have a senator named Tim Scott from South Carolina. He came up with a bill that should have been approved. It was great. It was a bill that was strong in terms of law enforcement and strong in terms of enforcing the proper thing and doing the proper thing by law enforcement. And the Democrats just wouldn't go for it. They wouldn't go for it at all. And I don't know why, because it was a really great bill. But I do have to say this. And some people don't like it when I say it, but a lot of people agree. I have done more for the African-American community than any president, with the exception of Abraham Lincoln. Criminal justice reform, prison reform, historically black colleges and universities. I got them funded. They were on a year-to-year basis. They could have been put out of business. As soon as our country had a little bad year, they would have said, I'm sorry, we're not going to fund you. I got them 10-year funding and financing, and more than they even asked for. I became very friendly with a lot of the heads. But we've done more, and of course, opportunity zones. But criminal justice reform, everybody said it could not be done. President Obama and Biden never even tried to do it. They never even tried. But I say that, and I say it often, I'll say it loud, and I'm very proud of it. And I have a great relationship because of what I've done with the African-American community. I'm very proud of it.
Let's go to our next question. We have Paulette.
I still stick to this, and when he brings it up, I'll always bring up the counter to it. That when he says he's done more for black Americans than any president since Abraham Lincoln, I'm not entirely sure I believe that. The 1964 Civil Rights Act is a huge fucking piece of legislation. Big game changer. Then, of course, there was Truman's desegregating the federal government, which wasn't segregated until Woodrow Wilson came along and segregated it, because Woodrow Wilson was a racist piece of shit and a Democrat, for anybody who didn't know that. Oh yeah, and he's still hailed today as a Democrat hero, but we'll put that on the back burner. So, you know, he's still done a fucking lot. I'll say that. Trump's still done a fucking lot.
Yeah, I heard too. I forgot about this. I think, can't remember. It might have been Ben Shapiro mentioned, but he on in terms of number of things done, Trump has done the most. I think someone else pointed out that, I can't remember who it was, but they basically was saying that with all these other things like, you know, desegregation that you mentioned, and especially with LBJ's civil rights changes.
I also forgot.
They didn't really do anything. They didn't really specifically do anything themselves. They were actually all...
You're right.
They were all sort of caught up within machinations of politics, Congress, Senate, states doing what they do, and so on and so forth. Whereas Trump has apparently specifically targeted issues, and he's been doing it again and again.
Yeah. Now, okay, Truman's desegregation of the federal of the federal government was something he did without Congress, because what was segregated was working for the federal government. Vast amount, something I would guess these days probably over 80% of federal jobs fall under the auspices and authority of the executive branch, which means the president kind of has liberty to handle internal executive branch matters as he sees fit. If Congress objects, they can pass a law telling him he can't do X, Y, Z, but that's all they can really do. And of course, the military falls under the executive branch in that category. And one of the big things it was the desegregation of the military. Eisenhower also, I forgot about Eisenhower. Eisenhower enforced the Brown v. Board of Education ruling that ended school segregation in the South. It was mostly ended in all of the northern states by that point. Most of them, not all of them.
Yeah. But they were all responding to the circumstance.
Yes, whereas he's the one who's taken initiative on some things, or acted upon lobby from citizens.
I think this is one of those things where he's playing on the semantics. In fact, he might even just be like outright trolling over it because, he does that where, okay, I'll mention this thing where I've got an argument to support it, but I know you're going to go for the other way of looking at it. Out it comes. He's done it a lot, and I think that's part of what he's doing.
Yeah, and by the way, some of the things he listed there, I have objections to. Federal funding for colleges and universities, I object to completely, and it doesn't matter who they're for. So, I don't believe the federal government should be involved in education.
I think they should pay for it. I think tax money should go back to it. That's something I don't think they should be deciding what's taught, and I think they should have a minimal input in.
That's the problem, though. Mission creep always happens. Mission creep always happens.
Oh, yeah. That is a subject for another day, but that is something that I do draw a distinction between that.
Okay, would it also help if I just said this? I do not believe that education is a human right.
Well, it's not.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. Ooh, that's something else we could discuss another. That's
yeah. We'll hold that for another another time. So.
That deal,
can't
she
stop me
leans
from
slightly
learning.
to Biden. She voted for Clinton.
You're right. Say you can't stop me from learning.
I can't stop you from learning, but I can't stop you from learning, but I also you cannot force me to teach you.
Yes.
Or to pay for
but
you.
I can't stop you from teaching me either.
You're correct.
It's an interesting
and
one.
I can't force you to
learn.
learn.
An edge case.
Funny how that cuts both ways. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
She voted for Clinton in 2016. She's registered as a Republican. Paulette, what's your question?
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
I have to say, you have a great smile.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
dentures will do a lot.
Translation. You have the best shit-eating grin I've ever seen.
And
I love it when he does.
And dentures can do a lot because I do not believe those are his original teeth.
Really?
He's in his mid-70s. Come on now.
Yeah, but he might have plants. God knows what.
Okay, they might not be dentures, but they're not his original teeth.
Yeah. Well, he could have had some of the greatest work done. Huge work. It's like he might have been looking. He might have been brushing his teeth.
Best in the world.
He might have been brushing his teeth one day when he came up with the idea to build a wall. I can improve on Clinton's fences. Like this work I just had. Yeah.
I'll let you.
There we go.
yeah. He does. You're so handsome when you smile. Okay. As the daughter of immigrants to the United States who
deport. Sorry. Reflex reaction.
Who fled Eastern Europe due to religious persecution.
Right.
The United States immigration policies are very personal for me.
Right.
Surveys show that most Americans and the majority of Republicans support the Dreamers program. So my question for you, Mr. President, is if you are elected to a second term, do you expect to pursue your previous efforts to cut the DACA program?
Yeah.
Why or why not?
And the DACA is somewhat different than Dreamers. You understand that, and you understand it better than anybody probably in this room. Where do you come from, by the way, originally? Where?
My grandparents were from Russia and Poland.
That's very good. Okay.
We've got a commie in the room.
A commie and a freedom fighter.
Yeah, no, actually, before when I said deport, when she went on to talk about fleeing religious persecution, I went, oh, hang on, no, they've got a founding father. This is, first settlers or whatever. What do you guys call them? The original immigrants.
You mean the very first people to set up the initial colonial settlements?
Yes. Yes.
Well, in the case of Massachusetts, they're called the Pilgrim Fathers. In Jamestown, they're just the first colonists.
Okay.
And one of the first people to come was a Polish tradesman. I don't remember his trade. I think he was a carpenter. I'm not sure.
There's a lot of Russians too.
Yes, there were.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to say something else, but I've completely forgotten it now. let's move on.
So we are going to take care of DACA. We're going to take care of Dreamer. It's working right now. We're negotiating different aspects of immigration and immigration law. We've built now over 400 miles of border wall, southern border. Mexico's working very closely with us. We have the strongest border we've ever had. We want people to come into our country. They have to come in legally. But we are working very hard on the DACA program, and you will be, I think, very happy over the course of the next year.
Thank you.
Because I feel the same way as you do about it.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
President.
you. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, in point of fact, the DACA program, there are, under your administration, no new applicants are allowed. And in fact, the DACA recipients now have to renew every year as opposed to every 2 years. So in fact, the DACA program has been curtailed by your administration.
Well, what happened is because of the pandemic, much changed on the immigration front. Mexico is heavily infected, as you know, and we've made it very, very difficult.
With, what do you say? Rapists and coyotes, isn't that? Haven't they got infections? Oh, no, it's the virus. Sorry. Another reflex reaction. Shit, sorry.
They do also have an infection of murderous rapist scum of the earth. Yeah. And I hope the Mexican people can find an adequate cure to it and purge that infection from their system.
Yeah, without sending it north over the border.
Or south, or anywhere. Well, okay, they could send it a little bit east or a little bit west, because that's the ocean.
Yeah. Make them live underwater.
With some cement shoes? Sure, why not?
Yeah. Actually, we haven't seen the lady nodding yet. When did...
She's been back there the whole fucking time. I've been watching her.
I haven't noticed her nodding or headbanging yet, so...
Well, the headbanging was a bit of stretch because she's nodding the whole time, so...
Difficult to come in because of the pandemic and other reasons and crime. But we have a very strong border right now, and we have to keep it that way. But we want people to come into our country, but they have to come in through a merit system, and they have to come in legally. And people are very, very happy with it. You haven't heard any complaints about that. But what happened is because of the pandemic, we have to be extra cautious.
You have been promising this immigration bill since, well, at least July, when you told my colleague on Telemundo it was coming, but nothing's come yet.
It's very happy. The fact is, we got rid of catch and release, which is a disaster. You know, you catch somebody, they could be a murderer, they could be a rapist, and we're supposed to release them into our country. These are the laws that I inherited. We ended that program. Now, I think you're going to see something very, very good. The whole immigration, if you look at what's going on, people used to pour into our country, and especially during the pandemic. I think even you, Savannah, will be very impressed.
Sir, we have about 30 seconds left. I think about people sitting out there tonight. There are some who love you. Some of them are sitting right around here, and some who will never vote for you. But there are people in the middle. There are people who aren't sure.
That's right.
There are people who want to know why they should give you a second chance and how you might improve in a second term. 30 seconds, what would you say to them?
Because I've done a great job. We had the strongest economy in the world. We closed it up. We are coming around the corner. The vaccines are coming out soon, and our economy is strong. We are at a level with jobs like we've never been before. We've rebuilt our military. We've rebuilt our borders. We had no borders. We had no nothing. We've rebuilt so much. We've given you the greatest tax cut in the history of our country, greatest regulation cut, equally as important. And we created new levels of jobs that nobody thought was possible. And next year is going to be better than ever before.
I got to leave it there. I got a wrap from the control room. Mr. President, thank you for your time. Thank you for listening to the voters' questions. That concludes our town hall. We do want to thank the president again, as well as our audience in hot Miami and all of you watching at home. And a reminder, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are scheduled to meet in person a week from tonight in Nashville, a second and final presidential debate moderated by our own Kristen Welker. Have a good evening, and thanks for being with us.
Okay. Oh, good. Thank God we made it through her.
Oh, fuck. Yep. Oh, I'm going to close the window capture for that one out now. That we are.
Hey, before you, we've got a late runner for something to put up. Did you get the link from?
Oh, yes, I
hang on,
did.
no, keep it up. I've got to grab the link in a sec.
All right, we're still up. We're still up. Yep. Throw it my way, and I'll transfer it over.
Yeah, it's actually.
Oh no, yeah, just throw it on the playlist. Throw it on the playlist. Yeah, just throw it on the playlist.
Source of light. Okay.
If it's a YouTube video, we can throw it in the. Oh, it's not. We may not be able to run this one. Here, I got it. I'll try it. Let's see if we can add this video.
Hang on.
Nope, we can't add this video.
I've got it. You can't?
Nope.
Ah,
can't add this URL type. Let me see. I saw this trending on Twitter earlier too. I didn't watch it yet. Let's see if we can get Twitter video.
Well, if you put up Watch Together.
Well, let me see if I can get Twitter video. Then we might be able to do it. God damn it. I should have thought about this one. If you should have just DM'd me while we were watching, saying, "Hey, get this one ready," and I'll have it. I would have it ready in the background.
Yeah, I would have gone for the. Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like Watch Together.
Yeah, we can't. All right, so
give that up.
So what we'll do is we will just.
I will try and pronounce the word. That's what it
fuck!
is.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. I got an idea. Don't worry. Don't worry. I got a backup plan.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna remove this link. I'm gonna create.
We basically wanted to share the a new word invented by Joe Biden. Speaking in dementia patient.
Oh yeah. Give me a moment. I'll get it.
Yeah.
No, it's just while we're working on this, we can chat about the actual whole bloody minded thing, if you would. You there?
Ooh. Yep. Go for it.
All right, just saying we could while I'm getting this set up, we can talk about the our overall thoughts on the matter, and you go ahead and start off since I'm working.
Well, I reckon it's a bit of a hard one to read. He's basically gone in and he's been stuck with, what's her name? Savannah Guthrie, just pushing hard. And it's basically the exact same, like, sense of, like one-sided questioning that's been running through all the debates. In fact, it's the whole presidency, really. And she has, I think in this case, it is clear that she's got a bias. Whereas I've been saying this about the presidential debates. It's hard to read whether or not they're acting on their bias or not. In this case, she's clearly done it. She's walked in, boom, I'm going to keep, and she nags him. She's acting like a lawyer early along. It's obvious. But then again, I've got to look at Trump and think, okay, well, good on you for
standing your ground.
Yes. Bothering to come here and show people you're willing to fight, which is very, very much part of the Americana optics that he's been capitalizing on.
Oh, yeah. And I've got it ready.
Okay.
Here we go.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Anyone get that? Because I sure as fuck didn't. Want me to play it again?
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Pressure. That's all I heard. I'm looking at it. The name of the drug, I think.
No, it's not. I don't think it is. It's something pressure. He's saying something.
Yeah, I know.
Pressure.
I'm looking at a quote of what he supposedly said, and I can't even fucking pronounce it.
Well, and they thought Covfefe was bad.
Oh my lord!
Good lord! Just
here, Jesus, this was just. Yep. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. This has been one hell of a fucking entertaining evening. That's for damn sure. Was not expecting to have this much fun.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back next week. We might do something in a few days, but we'll be back. Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on which part of the world you're in.
Just to let
we're going to be doing a run of streams covering the election.
Yeah, we decided we're not going to do a single stream. We're going to do like we'll be active for like a couple hours here, like an hour or so here. A couple hours later, we'll be back. Basically, we'll be putting several streams up that on election night, just like playing a sort of catch up. Well, not catch up, but what's the word I'm looking for here? Just like a checking in with the election. So that way, no one has to suffer through, including us, through what could easily turn into an 8-hour slog.
Yeah, so the first one's going to be, hopefully, it's going to be us looking into basically the talk before all the counting starts coming in, because there's bound to be lots of coverage in the media, and then after that, we're going to start looking at what they're saying as it comes in and discussing the results as they roll in.
Yeah, and if
by that stage, we will probably be drunk. By the way.
Oh, God's yes.
And if Trump wins on the night, I will be running down the street in the nude.
Well, what I need to do 3 things before election night. I need to pick up some whiskey. I need to pick up. Well, I'm going to pick up some snacks and other stuff. The other thing I need to pick up is something I don't want to pick up, but if I don't like them, I have people in my family I can give them to. And I made a promise. I think I made that promise on stream, but I know I made it. No. I think I did. But even if I didn't, I'm making the promise now on stream. If Biden wins, if Trump loses the election, I will eat on camera 3 avocados. Now, some people may be going, oh, that's not that bad. You don't know me. Those things make me want to puke. I fucking hate avocados. If I had my way, I would buy several drums of the type of gelatin-like fuel used in flamethrowers and just scorch earth the planet of every avocado tree I could get my claws on. I would wipe the fucking plant out if I could. So, yeah. I will eat 3 avocados on camera. Now, you're not going to see my face. There'll be a table, a little card that says this is his around. He's keeping up his promise. And I will upload it to our YouTube channel.
Yeah. Okay. So.
God, if he
we'll be back.
God damn it! Biden better not win. I do not want to eat even 1 avocado.
You're being oppressed, man.
But no, I said it for myself. I will honor my word. All right. Well, thank you for joining us tonight, everybody. Have a good one. We will hopefully maybe be back before election night, but we'll definitely be here all throughout election day and election night.
Yeah. So, adios, y'all.
Adios.